Hi guys, welcome back to EV Adventures. Today we're looking at the Mercedes EQA, a crossover of similar size to the BMW iX1 and the Model Y. Now, first impressions of this car from the outside, it looks good. It's a handsome looking car, not easily identifiable as an electric car, which has its own appeal. But does lose out in other areas, which we will explore later on. It has some nice lines. It's instantly recognisable as a Mercedes and looks rather fetching in this blue paintwork. So let's start off in the back. It's a spacious car, quite nicely appointed. Suede effect and leather or faux leather interior. Twin sunroofs provides nice amount of visibility and makes it feel open and airy. The back does slope off quite suddenly, which will affect rear headroom for anyone sort of 6 foot and above. We have one issue in the back with this being a conventional car that has been converted to electric, and that is the transmission tunnel for the prop shafts that do not exist in this car. In the middle, your only real entertainment in the back is to play about with this center armrest and the really quite satisfying cup holders that just present themselves to you. We also have easily accessible ISOFIX points. Tesla take note. And we have top tether, all the good safety things. But what about boot space, I hear you ask? Well, flick up the Mercedes badge at the back and you are presented with an auto lift tailgate. Some neat little storage solutions to the left and right hand side with their own nets. Umbrella not included. A real poor attempt at underfloor storage. This really highlights some of the issues I have with legacy car manufacturers. Why use a body shell that wasn't made for electric? Because you end up with so many issues with packaging. Moving up to the front, we need to remember that this is an entry-level car from Mercedes. So it's premium in places and feels a bit cheap in other places. The steering wheel is really nice to hold. It's a mixture of perforated leather. There's lots of shiny chrome effect bits and brushed aluminium effect scattered throughout the dashboard. If you like shiny things, you will be well at home in this interior. The interior just feels like it should come with a free pair of bright white Adidas trainers, cheap aftershave, and baseball caps. It's just trying too hard. Okay, Mercedes EQA. Got a start-stop button. And we have a drive selector like an old Tesla used to have. So, how does it drive? Well, it's got an annoying habit of trying to constantly steer you away from the center of the road or away from the outside. The steering wheel is constantly doing this. I've tried to turn it off and it's still doing it. I don't know why. It's also telling me that a seatbelt needs to be put on, but there's no weight on any of the seats. Why are you doing this? Okay, steering is really annoying. Let's try and put that behind us. So this is a small crossover sort of vehicle from Mercedes. The ride is good. It's a bit firm over sudden bumps. It handles well. doesn't handle like a big bowl of jelly, which is what I was expecting it to handle like. It feels quite confident going down the road, apart from the steering. The steering wheel is really nice. They've taken that just out of another Mercedes, which is good. It's got some red stitching on it. But then they ruin it. And I don't know if it's like this in every other Mercedes, but we have physical buttons for the steering wheel controls, which is good. But then they make them do a stupid slidey action. Instead of pressing an up arrow or a down arrow, you slide up and down. Not on a rotary wheel, you just do a sliding action. And that lets the car know that you want to go up, down, left or right, which I think is stupid. And whilst we're talking about stupid things, we have paddles on the steering wheel, which you might think, oh, it's a sporty car then, it's got some performance. It hasn't. But no, you press them thinking, oh, this will be an engaging drive. You don't get that with many electric cars. So you press it to change gear and it just says normal recuperation. So you press it again and it does nothing. So then you press the down one and it says strong recuperation. All it does then is adjust the brake regeneration. What's the point? Why? Why have that as paddles? How many people are driving along going, right, I want sudden regeneration now. Get to the next corner. Nope, I want slow regeneration. And then we get to the seats. Now this is a more premium interior. It's got Alcantara bases, or center bits of the seat, and then a vegan leather. Except it isn't a vegan leather. But Tesla has vegan leather. And I rate them as okay for vegan leather seats. They're not a patch on regular leather, but such is life with electric cars at the minute. But the leather in these, it's like someone stretched a black bin bag over some foam. I know this is a cheap Mercedes, but it isn't a cheap car. This one as spec'd is nearly £50,000. And I don't know where Mercedes think they can advertise a car like this for £50,000. The interior is full of scratchy, awful plastics, cheap moving storage bins. The indicators make no noise. They don't click when you have the indicator on. The bumps are horrendous. I saw the car from the outside and I thought, it looks alright. I saw the car on the inside before actually sitting in it and thought, yeah, that also looks alright. It doesn't look too bad. And then I've just started driving it, and if this was a £30,000 car, I'd be saying it's brilliant. I could forgive a lot of the other stuff. But at nearly 50,000 or over 40, that's where they start from, it's just over 40,000. Performance is mediocre. I mean, let's slow down to 40 and I will put my foot hard down. So there's 40, 50, 60. It isn't quick. It's quick enough. It's not a quick car. So as per the title of the video, is it any good against the Model Y? No. I drove that Model Y that it's much quicker, the standard equipment is far better. This doesn't have adaptive cruise control. It's just got standard cruise control. I thought they came standard with adaptive, but when I press to change the distance, it just says can be purchased at a later date. Now, there are some things that many people want in a Tesla that this doesn't have. It has a head-up display. I'm not a fan of head-up displays, but it has a head-up display and it's showing me my speed, what the speed limit is, and it's showing me sat-nav directions. So that's good. They haven't incorporated it very well into the dashboard. It just looks like there's an empty bin on top of the dashboard, but it's got a head-up display. The screens are tiny. Information is presented well on them, but they are small and fiddly to use. Material quality is average to poor. The window switches feel like they're made out of clothes pegs and that they'll snap after 5 uses. The problem is, I didn't want to say this kind of stuff because I'm comparing it to a Tesla. I drive a Tesla daily, and all I'll get in the comments are, you're a Tesla fanboy, that's why you don't like it. But I don't like it because it's not very good. Again, the steering's just trying to drag me into a hedge. Why is it trying to kill me? Right, I'll try and find some nice things to say. I like the steering wheel. I think the car looks quite nice from the outside. I don't think it looks too bad. The range is pretty good. It'll do 300 miles to a charge. So it will do 250 miles because that's how electric cars work. They're just allowed to blatantly lie about the range, but again, that's the life we're leading at the moment. It feels well made in terms of body structure. So things like the indicators don't. Again, they feel like they're going to snap. They feel like the same sort of plastic that plastic clothes pegs are made from. But when you shut the door, you get a satisfying clunk. The motors are silent. The reversing camera, or the cameras in general, it's got reversing, front, 360 view, like a bird's eye view from above. They're all excellent. They're really good quality. Going down a bumpy road now. But the minor dips and undulations and things, it's not that bad. It rides okay. It rides equally as well as a Model Y. But you get to some sudden bigger potholes and it is quite crashy. Let's turn around here and find how easy it is to maneuver. Go into reverse. Rear wiper comes on automatically, that's nice. Cameras are good. And I think you can select different cameras as well, so that's nice. So things like that are good. And then you've got a front camera and that also shows you what's going on, so that's nice as well. Climate controls are physical switches to operate, but it's the same thing I didn't like about the Renault 5 that I tested. They're just awkward. The way they've designed them, they're not just buttons. They're weird switches.
You have to still look down because you don't know how to operate them. They don't operate in a normal way. They might as well be on the screen. It's quite a nice thing to drive. The steering is nice and light. It's got absolutely no precision or accuracy in it whatsoever. But it doesn't pretend to be a sporty car. It's not meant to be a sporty car. It's not an AMG. It's just a cheap Mercedes, which is not a cheap car, it's a cheap Mercedes. And you're paying a lot for the badge, let's be honest. It's just a bit of a paradox car. It's a Mercedes. It's got this really nice, luscious, upmarket, luxurious steering wheel that I'm holding onto with perforated leather, thumb grips, flat bottom. I've got the big Mercedes badge in front of me, and I'm sat here thinking, oh, I'm in a luxury car. It's really nice. I've got Alcantara on the seats. I've got Alcantara on the doors. And I'm sat in here thinking, yes, this is nice. And then I go to open the window, which I won't do in this weather, and I think, they've made that from plastic hose pegs. That's not very good. That's a bit cheap. And then I think, indicate. And the indicator feels like it's going to snap off because it just doesn't feel very good quality. And then you start looking around, suspicious. You get to the center console and you're like, ooh, there's some awful, cheap, scratchy plastics that feel like they've been taken out of an early 2000s Renault. And then you look in front of you, but I've got a head-up display. Early 2000s Renault didn't have that. And I've got these touchscreens. And I've got bits of brushed aluminium and chrome vents. And I've got a large panoramic sunroof. It just feels like it's been robbed of parts from all across their production line. Cheap, some expensive, someone's just shoved loads of different quality parts up their nose, sneezed, and it's just a chaotic mess of, wow, this feels luxurious, this feels like a Dacia, which could be forgiven if this wasn't nearly £50,000 as this car is spec'd. And spec'd as this is, it doesn't have adaptive cruise control. It doesn't have true one-pedal driving. It doesn't have blind spot cameras that come on when you indicate. It doesn't have nice software to use. Now, this sat-nav looks like it was used in Mercedes a decade ago. It's just that it's on a touchscreen now. And these are all things that BMW does. And these are all things that Tesla does far better. Compared this to the Model Y that I tested not that long ago, the interiors are completely different. The Model Y still feels luxurious, even though it hasn't got a heads-up display and a mix of different materials used inside. It's a very modern, luxurious car. This gives the impression of luxury until you start to scratch beneath the surface. And there are some materials that you can really scratch. Let's go over some quick likes and dislikes. The ride is good, generally. Sudden dips and potholes are exceptionally harsh. The steering wheel is wonderful. To hold, it feels like something special when you're holding the steering wheel. And to look at, it looks expensive. I think for the size and type of car, it's a decent shape. It's not ugly. It's not beautiful. You wouldn't put a poster of one on your bedroom wall. But it's a good looking car. It's also very practical. There's seating for 5 and it will seat 4 very comfortably. The boot is big and even bigger with the seats folded down. The range is good, equally comparable to the Model Y. It has a phone app, which is good, and you can do similar things to the Tesla, not as much, but similar things. However, it's free to use for the first 3 years. Then after that, you have to pay a subscription for it. I think they do a cheap basic version, but I don't know what that would show you. There's quite a few things that this car doesn't have that the Model Y does, just as standard. Bearing in mind that a rear-wheel drive Model Y is cheaper than this, and still faster. So the Model Y has cooled seats, as well as heated. This is not. It has all the autopilot functions included in the price. This gets cruise control as standard, but not adaptive cruise control. The ride is similar in both, and dynamically speaking, also very similar. This has got a heads-up display, which I know is a big selling point for some. It also has a normal drive selector and not a swipey thing on the screen. However, the swipey thing on the screen does give you predictive shifting, which works very well. All in all, being completely unbiased as possible, the Model Y is a better purchase than this in terms of drivability, factoring in efficiency, performance, standard equipment, price. The Model Y beats this on all of those things.
Thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you on the next one.